Another player to look out for, of course, is going to be Beasty, who now is tied in terms of set wins with Wham. Wham probably now sitting back and just watching and hoping that Anathan can take out Beasty, just like he took out Wham.
Yep, and we've got another 3D clan member. We got Anathan going to be facing off against BC in this matchup. And we've got another two civilizations that we've seen frequently today. It's going to be the Delhi Sultanate on Rocky Canyon up against the Chinese. The civilizations that BC will have available to him today will include Delhi, the Mongols, English, the Abbasid dynasty. On Anathan's side, we'll be looking at, of course, the Chinese, the Ayubids, the Japanese, and the Malians. So that's going to be our possible options here. It is a best of three, of course, so you're kicking off a fresh series here on the group stage, as Lidakor has mentioned, with BC sitting very high in as far as the wins have gone so far in this tournament in the group stage, and be looking players starting to get to the point where they're trying to determine the seeds they're going to have as they get into those playoffs and into the finals, after that. So it's going to be very, very consequential.
Yeah, now Anotand, he is currently in an outside-looking-in position when it comes to the playoffs. He is technically the fourth place right now, but he's yet to play this set. And, if we get the textbook result, which is probably a Beasty win, then he would actually fall out of the top four here. Having said that, we have just seen how powerful Wham is. And this guy, Anotand, he won 2-0 against Wham. So we have this little setup where, players like Anathan are beating Wham, and then Wham is beating players like Beasty and Lucifron. Let's see if we can close this circle and have Beasty beat Anathan, or if Anathan pulls off an upset. If he does, it's going to be monstrous for his position in the playoff race, and it's going to be enormous for a player like Wham, who is definitely hoping that Beasty is going to lose here.
And we've got that prediction up already. You can vote on in the channel points who you think is going to win. Is it the game or series? It looks like it's going to be the game, but let's hear from you in chat. Let us know, who are you rooting for this series? Will it be Beasty or will it be Anathan as we kick off here a fresh new series, fresh best of three, and it's going to be great fun. And of course, today all made possible by the support of Microsoft and Surfshark for sponsoring the stream. You heard from Pesty earlier, but you can support EGC by checking out their affiliate link for Surfshark. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today for this. This is the home of competitive esports for the Age of Empires 4. As you know, plenty more coming up with this tournament, but you can rest assured that there'll be some new content coming out later this year. Who knows what it might be? A lot going on for the Age of Empires community, and it's been super, super fun to follow.
Oh, for sure. It's a known thing that the Red Bull is hosting something in the foreseeable future. So we can all hope that we are going to have an equally exciting Vololo later this year, like we had, what was that, year and a half ago now?
Yeah, whenever it was. Wait, have they determined where it's even going to be yet? Is the El Reinado, is it going to be
no public info on that, so... you could make some guesses on the name of the tournament, though, like based on that.
Yep.
But yeah, we're gonna have to wait for more info on that. One thing is sure, I think a lot of us would be excited for another Red Bull Volo in AoE 4. But before that, we got to crown a champion here in Elite Classic 2. And, the path to being a champion leads through the playoffs, which starts with the group stage and qualifying for said playoffs. We just have 20 seconds left to go between Beasty and Anotand, and we'll be heading into Rocky Canyon to take a look at a Delhi versus Chinese matchup. Dry Arabia and Mongolian Heights will be the other two maps that we might be witnessing in the upcoming set.
Yep. And let's get ready for this. I think Beasty going to be definitely the favored player in this matchup. Can Anathan do something? Whoa, I got flipped. Look at that. Whoa, crazy. I'm unmirrored now. Production crew going crazy on the backside. But sounds like we're going to be moving in to game number one.
Indeed, game number one coming up in just a second, folks.
Okay.
There we go.
Welcome to game number one of the group stage of the Elite Classic 2 between 3D Anathan versus Beasty Cutie. Beasty Cutie playing as the Delhi Sultanate here today up against Anathan on Rocky Canyon.
So Delhi versus Chinese, not a matchup that you see every single day, and we're looking at two fundamentally different civilizations. Chinese, of course, they like to turtle back a little more, play this long eco boomy game with little to no map control in early game. You look at Delhi on the other side. Delhi, they love to play that map control game, secure the sacred sites. On this map, you can secure 2 sacred sites without any major issues. The third one is a bit of a stretch. But against a civilization like the Chinese, it might very well be plausible. It's going to be interesting to see how the players approach this matchup, though. We could see a little bit more early aggression from Anathan to try and contest the sacred sites. And at the same time, we could see a somewhat more passive feudal age from Beasty, trying to play a semi-fast castle approach, go for village fortresses. I think there's a lot of intrigue going into this civilization matchup, and quite a lot of uncertainty even.
Yep, we see Beasty scouting the eastern side of the map, trying to pick up those sheep. And as the Delhi Sultan, having gold in your back pocket certainly feels good for the early stages of the game. Going up against China here, he'll be looking to probably grab those sacred sites. I mean, think about that last series. Wham pulled off that, was it Wham or was it the series before that? They pulled off the sacred site victory at the very last second against Demo. It was absolutely nuts. I guess it was the series before that, but it was on this map. So Delhi has certainly been a popular choice here, and maybe he'll try to do a similar treatment against the Chinese, who are known to turtle up.
I think one of the concerns that Anathan can have with this map generation is that it's a difficult map to defend. First of all, you don't have a lot of wood to work with on this map, so in general, it's difficult to defend your lumberjacks against early aggression. But when you look at the gold mine spawns in particular for Anathan, that's where it gets concerning. His stones are great, nicely tucked away at the back, so he's going to have no issues securing a second town center. But those gold mines are awfully exposed. And what that means is that if he is facing a lot of aggression in Feudal Age, he's going to struggle to get up to Castle Age and let's say start sending out some Palace Guards. So I think that's going to be the primary angle of attack here for Beasty, who's aging up with the Tower of Victory.
Yep, and if today's touching anything, Tower of Victory seems to be the way for the Delhi Sultan these days, at least on the maps we've seen in today's tournament. Very popular option. So be looking to open up. I would imagine we'll see some Ghazi Raiders coming out from Beasty early on to try to do some kind of harassment, maybe try to slow down any second town center expansions if they're outside of the main base. And find out here in just a moment.
Decent sheep haul here for Anathan. Obviously, it's a big thing for him, not so much for Beasty. Beasty actually has the upper hand when it comes to collected sheep, but he himself wants to play heavy into berries, of course. Now, when it comes to Beasty's map, he's got a super open right flank, and most of the berries are situated in there. But I don't think it's going to be a major concern for him, simply because it's not like Anotand is going to have a lot of early game high mobility units that can exploit that opening.
Yep, and just as all good players do, as you hit the second age, go check out what your opponent's doing. You see Anathan doing that right now. He's walking by with the scout, going to probably try to get a peek to see what buildings maybe BC drops down as he reaches the feudal age. You can see a little bit right now, but it has to confirm that Tower of Victory is there. I mean, you assume so, but going to confirm. Nothing, no funny business going on. And there we have it. Going to be hitting the second age. Let's see if he drops down any military buildings.
Yeah, Barbican nicely positioned here, protecting the back of the wood line. It's not even meant to protect the gold. It's actually meant to protect the wood line. And then you can wall on the other side to the edge of the map to make it a little safer. No villagers having been sent to stone here for Anathan, though he's actually pretty heavy on food still. Whereas for Beasty, he's doing a little shuffling around with the scholars for the time being. Opening Ghazi Raiders, no surprise on that front. But in the end, of course, we want to see a lot of archers. And one of the things that Anathan could potentially do against an archer-heavy build from the Delhi could be a fast castle palace guard flying. He is still not on stone, but he's sending a bunch of villagers to wood, so you probably will have a second town center eventually here.
Yep, and here comes the Ghazi Raider. First one coming, is that in the middle of the map? Yeah, that is going to be a Ghazi Raider. We're looking to see what he gets, and yeah, let's watch closely, see if he goes for stone. Like, Beasty could go for some crazy aggro move, I guess, if he didn't go for stone. But for right now, sticking villagers on wood and may even try to get a barracks down before he decides to go for a gathering like that. But we'll see what he does here in just a moment. BC's got a few of his Ghazi Raiders out, grabbing all his techs, of course. Does he have any blacksmiths back at home? It doesn't look like quite yet because he opened with the stable. But there it is. Right on schedule. Blacksmith can be coming down for Beasty. And he is going to be looking to get those free techs. Look at this. Anathan making a stable. Crazy. Got some Imperial Official as well. So Anathan's going to be pumping out some units.
I like that. We actually talked about this in the very first set we cast today. Ghazi Raiders are nice, but they're expensive. And when you're not fighting heavy units at all, they're actually somewhat subpar one-on-one against enemy horsemen. So in many ways, this is actually a decent setup for Anathan. One-on-one, his horsemen will be a lot more efficient than those Ghazi Raiders. Now, one thing the Beastie is doing over here is just kind of spreading out the enemy hunt. He's actually expecting a second DC here from Anathan, but that's not something that's going to happen. Anathan is not on stone.
It's definitely not something you expect to have the stable here early on. I don't know if Beastie scouted it yet. I see just now that he's got some Ghazi Raiders in the area. So we might not see this coming.
Yeah, I love how he's spreading out the hunt. If Anathan wanted to play second DC, that would be very annoying for him to deal with. But Anathan is hiding all those horsemen. And I think the reason why he's doing that is because he's waiting for that scholar to move out. The scout just saw it. He's going to try to jump it with enough horsemen to kill it before Beastie can react. And I don't think Beastie saw the stables yet. This could be such a lovely ambush here by Anathan. Yeah, Beastie must have no idea about this. He wouldn't be spreading out the deer out there, knowing that his opponent has horsemen approaching that scholar.
Yeah, this is going to catch him by surprise, so... You know, scouting intel is everything, and it doesn't seem like Beastie scouted that this one was coming, and this was a nice drop. I mean, not something you expect in most matchups against the Chinese, so we headed out to the other sacred site to try to stop the scholar. Now, Beastie does have a fair amount of Ghazi Raiders. You look, 8 Raiders versus the 5 horsemen that Anathan has.
He doesn't have enough scholars, and that's catastrophic. He actually aged up. This is such a big brain move by Anathan. Because Beastie aged up with the Tower of Victory, he doesn't have a lot of scholars and it's difficult to replenish them. If Anathan was a little quicker moving towards this scholar here, he could have killed the second one too, and Beastie has no scholars to capture sacred sites with. Beastie would have needed to mine gold to make a new scholar. That is such an awesome start here for Anathan, and it is definitely one that caught Beastie by surprise, I feel.
Yeah, I completely agree, and we've talked about this before with Tower Victory build. Most times players just have 2 scholars. They just make 2 scholars, they use them, they get their sacred sites, they get the gold they need. And in this case, he's going to have to transition some villagers out the gold if he loses that. But for now, he's going to be able to get, it looks like 1 sacred site. He does have a considerable army, but Anathan's adding a lot of spears. Beastie probably expecting that. You see he's making archers of his own. So going to have some archers against spear and I guess will be Zugadu as well.
If Beastie captures that 1 sacred site, most of the pressure of that early lost scholar is going to be gone. He needs at least 1 steady sacred site so he has an influx of gold, something that he can use to manufacture or create more scholars. The risk that he was in was that if he has no sacred sites and he loses that second scholar, it's going to be awfully difficult to get another one. So now with that sacred site under his control, he's going to start building up that scholar count slow and steady. And Anathan feels like he's done. He is actually starting to wall off the map. He's actually probing these berries. Beastie's nowhere to be found on the berries, though. He got Anathan tricked for a second. I think he actually went for the hunt. Yeah, he's on the hunt on the right side, and Anathan didn't expect that.
Okay, so Beastie gonna be grabbing a second sacred site. Anathan's got those horsemen just hiding in the corner. He's heading towards the hunt. Is there anything to guard it? What's he got there on the right side? Oh, he's got the tower. Okay, he did build a tower, so...
Anathan isn't expecting it. Anathan has no idea that the Delhi player is playing on hunt. They always play on berries. The amount of mind games we have in this game, Fitz, is absolutely legendary, I feel.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, the Chinese opening with horsemen, don't expect that. You could see he had nothing to protect his scholar. And then this, going all the way out to the deer, ignoring the berries, which usually you would expect Delhi. But you know, that's predictable. So mind games, going for the deer, a smart move here, and Anathan hasn't been able to get any raid there.
If this was a French pick by Beasty, Anathan would have probed those deer patches. But he's actually sitting on the berries for the last 2 minutes. He's like, where is his opponent, or where is my opponent getting the food from?
Yeah.
It doesn't even cross his mind that his opponent is on the hunt. That is unreal. And I don't fault him for that, because you never expect that from the deli.
Okay, so Beasty positioning there, but not able to get a whole lot. There's been a wall. You see Anathan building a giant wall and going for the boar, building a tower first. And be going for that boar out there. Rather exposed, and, well, Beasty's kind of in the area. Is that wall completed all the way across? What?
Oh, no.
What happened? Uh-oh. Not even going to matter, though.
It's not going to matter because Beasty doesn't know it's open. It's very funny how both of these players are missing scouting intel, and because of that, some of these moves look very awkward.
It's very easy to see with God vision like we have, although.
Yeah.
Make no mistake of that. Villager stays alive with like 1 HP. It does look like Beasty did not commit to going through that wall at the time. And there we go.
Finally Beasty's moving towards the berries. And the horsemen were just like, we're uninterested. This is a good find, though.
They've been camping that out for hours. For what? 1 villager. It looks like.
Yeah, traded for 1 horseman, not great. But Anathan does have an 8 villagers lead. Beasty does have 2 sacred sites. But one thing that Anathan was able to do is slow down Beasty's expansion a lot. The sacred sites were a little delayed. And as much as Beasty kind of tricked his opponent by going for a hunt, let's not forget, going for a hunt with the deli is quite inferior compared to the berries. So Beasty did miss out on some food income as a consequence.
Okay, so we got Beasty losing that middle sacred site right now, and a little bit of a chase of the horsemen and the Ghazi Raiders. As right now, the Ghazi Raiders have better stats, so horsemen don't really want to take those fights, especially in smaller numbers. Here in the middle, though, I think he's got some spears and so you can probably to hard that. Oh,
nice stun
here, yeah, and mid, big fight. Okay, this is a little awkward. Spearman surrounded by the Raiders, and the archers come up with the, of course, Tower of Victory, and he's just lost all of his spearmen. Oh boy, that is not what you want. Archers and Ghazi Raiders pushing up on the Zugunu, trying to get inside, but the gate was not done, so they had to stand outside for a little bit more. Took a few more losses. Raiders able to get on them, and those archers going to be picking off the remaining Zugunu. Of course, they've got the attack speed as well as some better movement speed since they're archers.
Yeah, that movement speed is going to come in handy because Beasty can retreat, but great fight for him. Now his army actually is twice as big as his opponents, and Anathan is just fully on Chukenu. Now, we've seen that Chukenu can be devastating in large quantities, and you reach a point where you just one-shot all of those Ghazi Raiders. But then again, if you have 30 or so Ghazi Raiders, it's still too much to handle. So Beasty just continuously investing into Ghazi Raiders is something that Anathan should be concerned about.
Yeah, that was just a massive engagement midfield. I feel like that tiny pond actually had something to do with the positioning and the surround of his units. He had his units just kind of spread out, and Beasty was able to capitalize, bring all of his forces together, and take a really good fight. Fighting together, of course, going to be great when you're up against a split army.
Anathan's numbers is not looking very sharp here, and Beasty's now thinking about Castle Age. Now, of course, he needs to be cautious with Castle Age because it's a double-edged sword with the deli. He's not going to get his upgrades anytime soon. But at the same time, it unlocks access to siege weapons, it unlocks access to the village fortresses tech, and probably most importantly, he can start mixing in some men-at-arms, or even lancers, to be honest, given how little spearmen Anathan has to work with.
It's certainly also nicer to be the one getting up the castle first when you're Delhi, because you don't like to be trying to play catch-up. It gets really hard. Look at this, going to use his military abilities
so
to build
smart.
A wall right away. Wow.
So smart. It's such a tiny detail, but it is so lovely. Using the archers, the Delhi unique ability to build defensive buildings with the archers, and he just prevents that reroll. And now he's ready to pounce. In fact, I think he actually stopped that Castle Age accumulation of resources. He's just doubling down on this, seeing an opening and seeing the blood in the water.
Villagers on the run, pushed off the board to the north. That's a huge army from Beasty. Anathan upgrading his towers, and he's also done a little bit of a farm transition. There you go, Compound the Defender coming down right now for Beasty Cutie. Pretty predictable landmark option there. He sees the tower, but not able to get any raids up to the north side. Now, Anathan kind of knows where his army is and kind of has him trapped should he want to force an engagement here. But BC might be able to squeeze out that wall just in time. See how this goes.
Number is looking decent here for Anathan. He can reinforce very quickly, and Beasty's reinforcements were a little slow. And this could be bad for Beasty if he loses this fight. Nice stun with the Spearman as well on the Ghazi Raiders.
Yeah, that's a lot of Ghazi Raiders, though. Those archers have been picking them up with that attack speed. But Anathan's got reinforcements. Will he be able to win this? Man, there's a lot of dead units in the field in general. But it looks like Anathan was able to hold. BC aging up, probably doesn't want to commit any more than that. So he's going to be retreating as he hits the Castle Age. Now Anathan needs to probably figure out how he's going to get up himself, or he needs to just really push like a maniac.
I think he needs to push like a maniac. He's so far from Castle Age, and Beasty cannot get anything out of Castle Age except for a few men-at-arms perhaps. But when you look at Beasty's food income as well, 400 per minute, he's going to struggle to afford those premium units. And I feel like you had two components for that previous engagement. First, Anathan can reinforce very quickly with the Chinese supervised buildings and the fight taking place close to his base. And Beasty going to Castle Age. We talked about this, it's double-edged sword. He invested a lot of resources in there, whereas Anathan invested everything he had into this army, and now he is the one with the vastly superior army, if I may say so. Mangonels could salvage this day, but Anathan has insane momentum.
He's training one Mangonel. As Holy Hand said in chat, it's been the road to 100 Zuganu. He's sitting there on 80 Zuganu right now. But BC very smart to, as fast as he could, get out a Mangonel, and that's going to be worth it.
Yeah, now Anathan wants to go Castle. He doesn't want to risk this. He could... Oh, that's a beautiful find, though. Gets a couple of villagers on the hunt. And I think he's still content boxing Beasty in. In fact, he's actually taking the berries on the far left, if I'm not mistaken. Beasty doesn't have a lot of food to work with, and he only has one sacred site. So I think Anathan might be happy here, as long as he can make his way to Castle Age and start getting some spring golds out.
There we go, lots of archers in the middle of the field. Zuganu waiting as he is aging up with the clock tower. 18 villagers building that, and a Mangonel right behind it. There we go, a Wololo coming in right now, and he's going to be able
Distraction.
Yep.
Beasty loves that distraction, and it's working. Beasty distracts with the Vololo, gets a nice hit with the Mangonel, but it's still so many Chukanu to work with.
A complete distraction. Here comes some Ghazi Raiders on the north side, just in time to see what's going on in the Chinese farms. There are some towers looking to protect right now, but here comes a little raid.
The fact that Anathan completed a farm transition might be immensely valuable here. Beasty needs to continuously rely on the berries, which are about to get depleted. And when that happens, his momentum is going to disappear. Now Anathan has Castle Age, he can start making spring golds. But I think what he needs to do is add a couple of palace guards. They would be so useful against an army that's almost exclusively archers.
Another Wololo coming in. Distraction Wololo or a real one? Zaka's like, I'm not following for this one. With BC, it's a distraction. I feel like this is his trademark move. I feel like he's the first one who I really saw like early on doing this distraction Wololo before any other players were doing it. And now it's pretty much been adapted by a lot of the players. But I think BC really pioneered that one. Got up to the north side. Anathan farming like crazy. Beasty trying to knock down the doors. 1, 2, 3 Mangonels.
Anathan was very late adding that spring gold. It's just now queued up, and he's been in Castle Age for quite some time. Now he's making in some palace guards and some lancers, but I feel like he's a little late to the party over here. Now Beasty has the veterancy on the archers as well, and Beasty's looking to fight this before the lancers, palace guards, and spring golds arrive. Oh, Mangonels, they could be caught off guard by the first couple of palace guards.
These walls.
Oh, that's actually spears. Anathan is making spears.
Okay, archers and siege. Let's see how this works out. Spearmen trying to run in, but archers should be able to take them out pretty easily. I love the quick walling that we've seen here out of Delhi today. And he's going to try to use his Magneto to get some shots. Anathan doing a good job of dodging it, mostly taking out pretty much all of the spearmen. And there we go, one Springald able to take out one of the Mangonels. Mangonel saying, oh, I'm going to shoot at just... They shoot at Springald these days. They're so bold. Cocky Mangonels. There we go. Down goes one. Now he's kind of trapped himself in here.
Yeah, Anathan had a lot of idols for a moment, but
I
feel like I'm getting a deja vu from this one. It's the same thing. Beasty isn't really having a lot of reinforcements come in, and losing this entire army is going to be extremely costly for him. I think he's doing the right thing, just distracting his opponent, running for the corner. But that's going to be a lot of units cleaned up for little to no value, actually.
Yeah, this is going to put Anathan in a really good position. So yeah, running all the way into the corner. They've decided that they are not coming out. See how this goes. He might be able to loop around towards the farms if he lets them escape. It's the only thing I worry. And look at that. That's not enough numbers. BC could fight that. Maybe he's nervous the whole army is standing there. But there we go. He's going to take that engagement. Anathan trying to position and realizing what's going on right now with the archers. Also a wall on the west side with, or a raid at the west side with a Lancer. So Beasty just continuing to just spread out, use some micro to his advantage, and splitting his attention all over.
And Beasty's finishing with Village Fortresses, so he can start booming away with this game. I feel like these archers still being on the back line is just something that haunts Anathan so badly, because it's distracting a lot of his troops. You see, he's still struggling to clean this up, and that just puts so much pressure on all of that backside of the eco. And that allows Beasty to be effective with just a handful of raiders back in here. Same thing, it's going to be an even-ish trade, but Beasty's going to be happy with this.
Yeah,
it's not like
it's
not a massive cleanup, that's the thing. When you send in groups in small units in small batches like this, Beasty's taking a lot more effective fights than in the case of fighting the whole army of Anathan's. And now, Anathan's eco has taken a big beating from all this harassment.
I mean,
come on.
Oh,
come on.
Toxic wall. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh. Well,
he's got nowhere to run now, though.
Yeah.
Still, like
that's just great. This boy's been playing some AoE2 with these quick walls or something. I haven't seen so much quick walling out of Delhi before, but there we go. Beasty, those archers, they got a lot of value. Now, by the way, while he's been distracting us with Wolos and villager raids, he's currently grabbing his 4th relic on top of having all 3 sacred sites.
That's massive. Now, Beasty doesn't have a great standing army now. I think this is the moment where Anathan needs to seize the day. He has taken a big beating. His food eco is a complete train wreck. Beasty has 3 sacred sites, but he cleaned up this army. That's the moment that he's been waiting for. Don't tell me he's going to trap the villagers inside.
Oh, man. Oh, that would be kind of crazy.
The archers intervene just in time.
Yeah. Man, this is I always love a scrappy daily game. This has been quite a joy to cast. This has been all over the place.
Yeah, this game was just something else. It was so chaotic in both ways. Yet some of these very awkward moves happening, like this one. Shukanu just casually walking through the map, not expecting anyone to be there. And as much as Beasty lost all of his army inside the enemy base, now it happens to Anathan, and there goes all his army lead.
Yep, so again, he never stops on the raid. Still raiding. Going on this farm. So he's getting a lot of villagers right here. Look at this. 23 vills have been killed right now. So BC raiding himself, and he's got village fortress. So these villager counts going to really start to boom up Beasty.
About 10 minutes ago, game time, the villager kill death ratio was 7-2. Now it's 7-26. Beasty was in command the last few minutes, and Anathan, he had that massive army, and it seemed like he was going to be able to break out. Beasty was able to put so much pressure on the eco that Anathan is still trying to resolve this issue. And now Beasty's sitting on 3 sacred sites. He already has a massive eco lead because of the sacred sites and the relics. He's actually taking this large gold away from his opponent. He's fortifying the sacred sites. In fact, I think all of the sacred sites are fortified, so decapping this is going to be a challenge for Anathan.
Yeah, he's built walls everywhere. He's building keeps everywhere. This is going to be static defenses all over the place, and he's been raiding. He basically just like has not let up since that like big archer push on the raids. So he's been moving on the right, on the left, and this even Anathan fixed on. Look, I mean, look how many units right now are chasing a few horsemen. And while he's been doing this, Beasty has been expanding to all 3 sacred sites, grabbing those relics, walling off the map, and setting himself up for probably a victory in this later stage of the game.
Now, one thing that Beasty does not really have is a Vololo actually might finish here. Beasty deletes them just in time.
Yeah.
He's not giving anything to Anathan here. But
yeah,
one thing that's concerning for Beasty is his food income. Let's not forget, Anathan made a farm transition long ago, and Beasty's out of berries. Still, I feel like Beasty, at this point, he can just use the gold to buy the wood he needs, so he can build the farms quickly. I don't think it's going to be a major holdup.
Okay, more raiders. Where is the gap in these walls? Has he just never completed his walls? What's going on here? Like, these just keep coming in. Oh my gosh, look at this. Yeah, that's
I think
very hard
it's
to
a matter
wall.
of where isn't the gap at this point.
That's just really challenging. Look how he just had to build it just all the way across the map.
Yeah, Anathan is like, I'm done with this. It's coming in too late, though. He suffered way too many casualties. He's down by 21 villagers, plus 4 relics and 3 sacred sites. That is just way too much. The only hope that Anathan has right now, I feel, is being able to punish Beasty while Beasty doesn't have a good food eco.
Yeah, I'm not going to underestimate the Chinese nest of bees and their siege as he moves up towards that northern side. But yeah, as you mentioned the food eco, you see BC dropping down a bunch of farms. Here comes another 5 raiders right on schedule. Moving into the wood line, going to distract half of the Chinese army as he slowly works on that keep. He should just take the sacred site right now. Like, don't waste time. It's 5 minutes away. He could take that right now, no problem. If he screws around, BC could show up with something.
Well, he will. Palace guards are not being sent in to decap this. But you see, Nest of Bees having a damage that Beasty is coming into flank. And while that is happening, he's still raiding those lumberjacks. Still, Beasty's army isn't massive. He's at 38 eco, or a 38 army only, and with that second AC coming in, Anathan's gonna reboot. I think Beasty's army count is rather concerning, but he does a good job picking off the Nest of Bees. He has villagers garrisoned inside the keep, but has to flee now.
He's not stepping on the sacred site! Oh my god.
It's still 5 minutes, though. Can you hold this for 5 minutes? That's the question.
I don't know. So, sacred site gonna stay there for now. A good haunt. Okay, well, sacred site continues to tick, and now BC knows, like, okay, I want to defend this spot.
Anathan has no wood income. As bad as Beasty's food income was a couple of minutes ago, now he's stabilized, but all those raids just completely nullified the wood income of Anathan. He's at 224 per minute.
He dropped down from there as well, but there we go. Keep continues to stay up despite all odds. BC's eco looking really good at this moment. Both players getting close to that 200 pop threshold. Villager's going to continue to prepare most likely, or are they going to retreat? It looks like they might be just building a wall and retreating.
Look at how Beasty's sectioning off the map. He's going to say, okay, I probably cannot hold this position, but he's going to be fine just securing 80% of the map. And don't forget, he took away a lot of gold from that large gold deposit. So there is a lot less to work with. Yeah, you see, half of that is gone.
It does definitely seem like he's just given up that northern sacred site. His army's sitting mid, and this is why he is aging up with the Hussar Academy. We've got Imperial Age Delhi coming up. Not something you see every day, especially at this level. Look at all the mangonels. He has 1, 2, 3, 4. Putting the siege and siege Yakudi underneath the keep. And let's see if he's able to hold this.
I don't get this. The first time that the Chuki and Upa ran past here, they got butchered. That should actually show Anathan that the castle is there. I just don't get this counterattack. He threw away a bunch of troops that could have been immensely valuable in a direct assault. Now the army count is dead even. Beasty's up in Imperial. I just feel like Anathan is struggling to seize those weaknesses that Beasty has temporarily. We saw that in the earlier stages of the game, and it was the same case here. He actually took out this keep. He had twice the army of Beasties, he needed to do something with that, but it just ended up being nothing.
And it doesn't feel good to just have your entire assault force completely wiped, and you see your opponent has reached the Imperial Age, and you know he's getting those free Imperial Age techs.
Beasty is at PopCap, folks. That is... I don't remember the last time where I saw a Delhi player reach Imperial. Now Beasty is just making 15 million layers of stone walls, and I have the gut feeling that this last layer of walls that he's making, it's going to be for trade. I think he's going to say, okay, I'm happy to play a long game here, fellas.
Yeah, and if you notice, he has 16 scholars. So if you look at some of those techs, you know, we joke about how long it takes to get daily techs in late game. He's finishing some of them up, you know, in a rather quick time, all things considered, for the value he's getting for some of these Imperial techs. So, of course, it is eating some of his pop space right now, but he is working towards that. Anathan still saving up. Looks like he's going to be getting Imperial Age here soon. He could just buy the food right now, but he's going to be aging up. So we're going into the late game, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but when we get to all those techs research, let's not forget, he needs to use a lot of his population space for all those scholars. But he's going to get every single elite upgrade available in the game, including elephant techs, as he just started queuing up some of those, for absolutely no price, which is insane if you think about that.
Are you saying we could see a mass elephant push down mid?
To be fair, I think it would be a legit unit. I don't think Anathan has much that can deal with elephants right now. It kind of sounds crazy, but elephants, it might not be as much of a meme as we kind of make it seem like.
Lidakor is a believer in the elephants. I can get behind that, but we'll see. I don't expect to see any elephants today, but maybe, just maybe.
Trade coming up for Beasty. He loves to do this. This is actually one of his signature moves. He doesn't like to overcommit to positions where he isn't certain that he can win. He has a certain level of advantage in some ways, and he's just going to build on that. He was one step ahead into Imperial, he's getting all these techs, and he's going to also beat his opponent to trading, while also possessing most of the relics and sacred sites, so that late game economy is definitely going to be in his favor.
Look at the minimap, like the number of walls that Beasty has. Like, it just looks like a maze of walls. Like, this is no man's land here in the middle. He's gone crazy. Not just that, these are gigantic stone walls. That's stone. It's because he's Delhi, whatever. He's got enough compound defender. And now he's really, really pushing. Now, the only thing that I could wonder is if Anathan can pull off some military victories here soon, which is going to be challenging going up against, it looks like going to be a stronger tech Beasty right now. I think things would start to swing in a little bit of favor of the Chinese, but right now Beasty's going to be in a horrible position.
I don't like the fact that Anathan is going heavy on the Spearman. It is probably the worst unit that he can make against what Beasty has. Beasty has not a single cavalry unit. Well, to be fair, he's got one Ghazi Raider, but still. He's actually going heavy on the siege though. As Vodka is highlighting, Anathan is also running low on wood. He doesn't have a spectacular gold income either, but what concerns me the most for him is that Beasty's got this scary composition of siege crossbows, archers protecting the mangonels, and he's queuing up a bunch of bombards. This is one of those classic Beasty siege pushes where he can just spearhead his way into your base and start destroying your production buildings.
Okay, so Beasty's trying to build more walls, shocker. And we've got mangonels just roaming, doing a patrol, taking out anything in sight. It kind of looks like they're just like patrolling the Beasty border wall. But right now, Anathan needs to start to get out of his base, needs to get a little something going on here. And you see him pushing forward. Lots of spears, as you mentioned. Not sure what the spears are going to quite to do other than maybe jump on top of mangonels. But lots of springles. How many springles does he have? 9.
That's a lot.
That's one way to deal with siege. That's how it takes these days to take out mangonels. He should be thankful they're not great bombards. That still wouldn't be enough.
Okay, what are the odds that Beasty will try a wonder here?
Here we go.
Sounds meme-ish, but you never know.
I don't think I've ever casted a wonder victory in EGC TV 1v1 tournaments. but today could be the day. Okay, all the siege has been deleted. This is what Anathan needed. That rhymed. We got to push right now as he takes out the Mangnal Splinters. Beasty's army has been reduced to splinters there mid-map, and right now he's going to be pushing out. Now, it doesn't have a lot to really necessarily take out the keep, unless, yes, he does have one bombard, so that can do it. And is this the momentum that Anathan needed?
I think it's too light. The problem is that Beasty managed to stack up so many resources.
Look. He's making elephants.
I know. I was just about to say that. But yeah, that's the thing. Beasty's piled up so many resources that the moment any of his units get deleted, he just picks up a brand new unit. Elephants, Gauzy Raiders. He's going to rebuild that army in no time. And he's making some Tower Elephants. Something that's going to be a really good unit here. Like, what does Anathan have? Standing Undivided. Palace Guards aren't particularly good against this. Speaking of whom, Palace Guards will get shredded by Gauzy Raiders even.
Like the great prophet Lidakor spoke only minutes ago, Beasty will rise with an army of pachyderms coming across the map, and it's going to be that little chop through going on here as Beasty prepares the elephant assault.
Those resource incomes just look very sad for Anathan. I think the way that Anathan can win this game is if he manages to somehow hit Beasty's eco really hard, but I struggle to see that. And usually, first of all, can I just say how disgusting that Stonewall looks for Anathan? Like, what? It ends in Johnny's house.
Yeah, I don't know about the zoning of that building district, but here comes some raiders to say hello to the farms. You know, he needs to lose these so he can make pop space for some more elephants. So we'll see how this works. Anathan's looking like he's trying to send his army down mid. There we go, Chinese dropping a keep disgustingly fast, as they do, but the villagers getting rinsed, as you can see, laying there on the floor. And here comes the Raiders. This is going to really hurt Anathan. I mean, he has 63 food in the bank right now. This is not going to be good.
9 out of 10 games late game end with one player getting cavalry into the enemy eco and wiping it out. That's why I said that I think the only way that Anathan could win is sending in the Palace Guards to the enemy eco and destroying that. But Beasty took the first step. He sent in the Gauzy Raiders. And let's not forget the fact he also has a massive wood bank in a setup where basically no wood is left on the map. He's actually okay sacrificing these Gauzy Raiders for now. Eventually he's going to switch into Lancers simply because of the shortage of wood.
Oh, look at this. BC has just about finished. Oh, yeah, it's all of his techs. Oh, we get the siege.
That is one lovely raid here. All those springboards going down, and again, wood is a premium resource at this point, so all the siege going down is extremely painful for Anathan. Not to mention the fact that his food eco is a train wreck. He's struggling with population. He is still chasing Gauzy Raiders with Spearmen, but he does have a couple of Palace Guards in the enemy eco. That's what he needs. He needs these Palace Guards to be his lifeline, as Beasty is ready to march in the enemy eco with the elephants. They even have the crossbows on them, by the way.
There they come, elephants on parade, moving into the base. Anathan's gonna be in some trouble. Can we get a little zoom in on these elephants? Let's see these bad boys. Oh yeah, there we go. That's it. You guys know I love it. Elephants moving into the farms. Oh my gosh, this is not looking good for Anathan. I don't know how he's gonna get himself out of this one.
Probably just by typing GG at this point. The only thing that he still has going for him is just a couple of Palace Guards in the enemy base. But funnily enough, again, these elephants have crossbows on them now. So there is literally nothing on the field that Anathan has that actually deals with these bad boys.
Okay, so Anathan has made it all the way to the back of Beasty's base as well. But here comes the Rams, here comes the elephants, bombards in the middle. This is a 40-minute game here. This is game number 1 of this best of 3. This is crazy.
This is looking like a game though for Beasty. 138 population for Anathan against Beasty's 200, and Beasty is piling up so many resources that he can legit start thinking about a wonder at this point. Well, he's not gonna have a lot of stone to work with, but still, his resource bank is enormous, and his opponent has 16 army. And I feel like bombards are being made right now by Anathan because that's the only thing that he has that could deal with the elephants.
I'm shocked by Anathan continuing to fight on despite this onslaught that's been going on. There's been 104 villagers killed. If we total them up, I guess it's just about 150 from both players. A lot of civilian deaths. Elephants! Get an F in chat, please, for the elephants. They have unfortunately seen the end of their days, but here we come, new elephants, and what is that? They come with their trainers. These scholars are here to bring healing to all. And oh boy, Anathan's got to be worried. You seeing those scholars skipping across the map. Here comes the elephants, and they got cool little flowers on their head.
Those are also melee elephants instead of the ranged elephants, so they actually have 300 extra HP compared to the units that you've seen before.
There we go. Man, you called this, Lidakor. I gotta say, I wasn't sure we would actually get to see some elephants. This is beautiful.
You know you're in trouble when your spearmen just die to a melee cavalry unit.
I like the elephant just glitches around. They're certainly noisy ones. It screams! It screams! He's holding though. Oh man, that was sad. He does not gonna like this.
It's one of those games where we see everything. Anathan might be thinking, oh shoot, I got this. I cleaned up so many expensive armies. He must be running out of resources by now, right? Right? Well, not so much, but Anathan doesn't know that.
Anathan, you know, impressive how little food and wood he has, and that he's been like still holding this onslaught. See, just moving closer and closer, and yeah, the game rage is on. I do wonder at what point. I don't think he's there yet. Does he sell buy stone and get a wonder? That would be crazy. It wouldn't be.
I think stone is just too pricey for that.
It is. I know. It's like next to impossible at this point. Okay, here we go. New wave of elephants. Moving in on the south side. You need to bring so many units to basically counter this is the problem.
Yeah, this castle is gonna be gone. Beasty knows that there's no trade from the opponent, and Ghazi Raiders just absolutely shred the villagers. Anathan is really struggling with population here. And again, the problem is that these cleanups aren't sufficient for him. It's not like he's destroying an army and Beasty cannot rebuild it. Beasty replaces every dead unit with a new one in an instant.
Sad says keeps are so bad as the elephants just like nom on it. I wish the elephant attack animation like moved around a little bit. Sometimes I can't tell like what are they doing. It's it's like they slowed it down or something, but like just the animation itself is really weird.
Yeah, they're munching on those buildings at this point. He's destroying lumber camps.
Like, okay, up at the top we've got Ghazi Raiders running around. We've got lumber camps going down. He just might as well take out that wall right now. At the wait, can elephants attack walls still? Or they removed that?
I think they can still attack walls.
You never know what changes. But I thought for some reason they moved it at some point. But here we go. Hand cannons, the worst enemy of the elephant.
If this was a game where Beasty has a no resource bank, I would still be maybe a believer in Anathan. And you gotta credit him for fighting on. He somehow managed to endure this onslaught, and he actually built a serviceable army against elephants. But again, it's just going to be a battle of resource banks. Basically, little to no wood left to be chopped by Anathan. Beast is a functional trade going, all the resources in the world. I just don't see this for Anathan.
I'm honestly amazed at how long this has been drawn out. Like, I thought BC was going to finish this like 15, 20 minutes ago, and it just keeps going and keeps going. Anathan hanging on. So, man, these guys got the stamina. At this point, I'm like, don't let a crash or something crazy happen in this thing. What's going on here? Look at the hand cannons. This is the problem with the elephants. They're fun at first, and then the hand cannons show up, and you're seeing what they do.
Yeah, they do a good job. Now, I'm going to be the one that says, so you're telling me there is a chance. And, you know, this is one of these awkward caster moments where if you just say, oh yeah, Beasty has this, and Anathan pulls a 1 in a trillion comeback, people will look at the casters and say, oh yeah, they shouldn't have called this game so early. There's no way, right?
Looking at that mini map, I have no idea. I don't think there's any 10K. Who knows? I've seen crazy things, but we've seen Beasty do this move. Like, how many times has he done this charge of Gazi Raiders in here? Like, he's gonna kill 3 villagers. He's gonna bring them back. Anatan's keeping his total pop on the higher side. He is cleaning up these elephants, which just means Beasty's gonna show up with a new tool. But that gold will run out, and that's going to probably be a decisive point here.
Yeah.
He doesn't have trade set up. BC is trading. It doesn't look like he'll really be able to get trade set up, or it'll be very, very difficult. So, like, there you go. The gold has run out. This is going to be this basically it. BC just knows he just needs to wear his opponent down.
This game went on a lot longer than it was supposed. It's crazy. I can't emphasize this enough. It's unbelievable that Anathan is at a pop cap right now. And I'm not gonna lie, I see a world where he actually turns this around. It sounds crazy, but look at Beasty's army. Is Beasty making a mistake here? He's going very heavy on elephants, and sure enough, they are tanky, but there are no healers. And that's a terrifying army of 70 spears and 27 hit per meter. Anathan needs to find damage at the enemy eco. That's how it starts. But this army is no joke.
I swear. Okay, here we go. 1,000,000 elephants coming out of Beasty. I haven't seen this in a while, but let's see how it goes. Against pure hand cannon and spears, I think it's going to get eaten alive, quite honestly.
The castle and the...
My gosh. Oh, he's going to turn this around somehow. I mentioned early in the game that, you know, as strong as Delhi is, if this goes super, super late, army composition gets a little rough for the Delhi Sultanate. I mean, he looks like he's surviving this push. Maybe he just needs to wear out Anatan's gold here, because he is eating expensive units if he kills the hand cannons. Heat goes down. Elephants, though, are sticking in it, as you can see. Very, very powerful. He needs to really focus fire him down. And there you have it. Anathan tabs out after a 45-minute siege of the elephant, bringing everything he had, elephants, scholars, and the kitchen sink. BC able to wear him down and get his rightful victory in game number 1 of this best of 3.
Oh my lord, what a game. Not just an Imperial game from the Delhi. It's a post-Imperial game. And one of the loveliest games I've seen in the tournament so far. Really, it comes down to that escalation that we kind of touched on when Beast reached Imperial. He wasn't all in with any of his pushes. He always had a second layer to it. And one of those layers was that trade being set up. And Anathan, you really have to credit him for enduring all that onslaught. He was in an awful spot, and he made some very much competitive moves, even in this very late game. This final fight, sure enough, he got butchered, but part of that was the fact that he was just out of steam entirely. But when you look at this game, I feel like both of these players have to be somewhat satisfied with it. Beasty is definitely happy about it. But I think Anathan, he's going to look back at this game and say, yeah, I had my moments. Things didn't always go his way, but I feel like, you know, Beasty and Anathan, they both have shown that they have this playoff potential.
Mm-hmm. I really, really, really hope there's an editor out there in the community that can like make an elephant montage from that that previous game, because that was just like absolutely crazy towards the end. But that was certainly very fun. And yeah, as you mentioned, even though it didn't end up going Anatan's way in the end, he really held on against immense odds for a very, very long time. It did feel like BC was just doing this slow bleed out of his opponent, but he did keep doing some really big pushes on his food lines, was brought everything at him, and Anathan just kept hanging on and hanging on. So got to give him to that. As we get ready for game number 2, our Civ matchup is going to be the Abbasid Dynasty for BC Cutie up against Anatan's Japanese on Dry Arabia. So that's going to be a fun one as we go to Anatan's home map.
Yep. Before that, we will take a look at the standings for Group B, just to show you, the significance of this set for both of these players. Here we are. Beasty currently second spot. Lucifon sitting at 6-1. With a win here, with a 2-0 win, Beasty would actually take over the first place. And Anathan, currently he's at the fourth spot, but if he ends up losing here, he is actually going to fall behind B, and he's going to be in an elimination spot. So a lot on the line for this set here, folks.
Yep. And man, after that game, I'd imagine they both need to get up and do a stretch and walk around for a second. That was so intense. I can only imagine. I wish we could had some cams there of Anathan defending this massive onslaught of a. Here comes another full pop of elephants at me yet again. Super fun. Everybody, hope you're enjoying the entertainment here today. The Elite Classic 2, brought to you by EGC TV, is sponsored by Microsoft and Surfshark and viewers just like you. If you're enjoying the stream, you can drop a sub, as we see Tild and Mike in chat just did. You can support esports here on EGC TV, and plenty more turns may come. So thank you so much for being here today.
Indeed, thank you so much, everybody. Players are also taking a little break over here after that absolutely monstrous game.
I think we're getting ready to get the next game pulled up. I think they were having a little technical difficulties getting it going, but not a big issue. So Abbasid versus the Japanese on Dry Arabia. We've seen earlier today, Japanese Fast Castle, still very popular in the meta, going up, getting that Yoshiro in the stable, getting those Mounted Samurai out very quickly. But Abbasid, they kind of can do a little bit of everything. They can bring you a super heavy feudal rush. They can open up with the military wing and have units in your base quite early on. Or they can sneak up and do a castle age rush it themselves, and not to mention have one of the greatest late games in the game when you add up some of those camel techs and some of their technologies they have for their spearmen and their archers, etc. So a lot could happen as far as this matchup goes, and it's an open map, so we're probably going to see a lot of back and forth, although sometimes these open maps end up with the most walls and the most just chilling in your base because it is hard to move out. So hard to really say what could happen.
The Japanese is not something that you commonly see on a map like Dry Arabia, so I'm actually curious how Anathan is going to utilize it, especially because early aggression with Japanese is a little difficult to pull off. Now, Beasty's remaining civilizations are English and Mongols, and both of those are more suitable for Mongolian heights. So I think he knew ahead of time that Abbasids are coming here. His alternative options would have been Malians and Ayyubids, which are both exceptionally good against Malian or against either of these civs on Mongolian heights. The intriguing thing here is that Anatand is either going to forfeit Ayyubids or Malians, even if this goes into game number 3. So I'm very curious how he's planning to go into this game with the Japanese. His opponent is on match point, and he opted to pick this civilization over a civ like the Ayyubids or the Malians here.
Yep, absolutely. And I see you guys in the chat throwing out some love to Lidakor and myself. We greatly appreciate it. We see your comments. We're always following along. We see the good comments. We see the bad comments. We see it all. Right now, I want to know, who do you guys think is going to win game number 2? Did we get a prediction? I'm not sure if we got a prediction up yet for this second series, so maybe we can get that going if we haven't already. But man, BC going to be looking to finish this one up. He could clinch with this, with it being a best of 3, and it could be fun. And this is a great time. If you haven't already, make sure you're followed to EGC TV and all they've got Discord, Twitter, they got a website, they've got it all, MySpace, LinkedIn. Go check them out. And Lidakor's got his own content as well, so make sure you go check that out. And I'm got stream on YouTube as well, so we appreciate you supporting the whole community. Of course, you've got here Beasty, one of the biggest streamers of AoE4 there is, streams every single day. So if you're having fun today watching the games, come back to Twitch tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. There's always somebody playing something at just about all of the hours of the day. And I hear the sounds as we get ready to go into game number 2 here very, very, very shortly.
All right. Now, while we're waiting over here, let's take a look at the remaining schedule for the day here, because we are not done with this best of 3 just yet. We had some insane sets already, But there is more to come here as we will be heading back to Group A for the final set of the day. That will be Marine Lord versus Vortex, following right after this set between Beasty and Anathan. An absolute banger for potentially the #1 spot in Group A. But before that, we need to settle this between Beasty and Anathan. It is match point for Beasty after an absolutely marvelous late game on Rocky Canyon. We'll be heading into Dry Arabia to take a look at an Abbasid versus Japanese matchup.
Welcome to game number 2. Beasty Cutie versus Anotand. This is all part of EGC TV's Elite Classic 2, sponsored by Microsoft and Surfshark. $25,000 on the line in this tournament as we get through the group stage, move towards the finals coming up in the tournaments. Beasty Cutie going to be playing as the Abbasid Dynasty today, playing in the color yellow up against Anathan, who's playing the Japanese. The map, it is going to be Dry Arabia, and currently Beasty is up 1-0, so looking to maybe close this series out. But Anathan, we saw him hold quite a while that last game. Let's see if he's got some fight in him.
Indeed, I think one of the big takeaways from the previous game was that Anathan definitely had his moments. He had that mid-game kind of fall apart with all the pressure done to his eco, and from that point on, he was just fighting from a very disadvantageous position. I think if the players are on even-ish footing, he definitely has what it takes to take out Beasty here. He has taken out Wham, who has been exceptionally good against the top players within this group, Beasty, Lucifron, B. So Anathan definitely has that playoff potential. We're going to have to see how he plays the Japanese here, though, because as we kind of touched on this in the pregame, it's not necessarily the most conventional civilization to play on Dry Arabia in a tournament setting. And he opted to pick this civilization over Ayyubids or Malians. So I'm actually very curious about his game plan here. I have the gut feeling that we might be seeing some Shinobi cheese, though.
Shinobi again. We saw that early on. Of course, that was a hybrid map where, of course, you see Shinobi a little more frequently, but we'll have to keep a close eye to see if he goes for that here today. And I'll be watching Abbasid as well to see, oh, no, Shinobi. It's going to be the Kura Storehouse. So no ninjas here for this. Let's see what he goes with. Military wing. Okay, we talked about this being an option. So Abbasid's going to open up. Swinging. He's going to have archers and spearmen. Now, you can use that offensively, but you can also use it defensively to go for a second TC right away. So we'll have to kind of keep a lookout to see if Beasty does make a move for that stone. If we see mostly all of his villagers on wood, you know, that's going to indicate he's going for maybe some feudal army. If it just stays food and gold, you know, perhaps a fast castle.
Yeah, so what you get with that military wing is 2 archers and 2 spearmen, and as you said, that's something that kind of sets the tempo of the game in a feudal age. It means that a handful of units aggressing you is not something that you'll be worried about. At the same time, if your opponent is playing passive, you have means of putting pressure on them. These are troops that you can utilize to potentially secure a second town center spot. So it gives a lot of safety to the Abbasid player early on, just like the massive haul of sheep that Beasty was able to obtain.
And we do see, he was dropping off food. I was like, there's some villagers chilling there for a second. Grabbing wheelbarrow right away. So military wing is going to get his wheelbarrow up. And he's building a tower on his gold. Usually, I'll say 99% of the time, you see that thing, that means he's going full fast castle. It could also be just defending against a military rush. We'll see.
Now the Kura Storehouse over here is an interesting one for Anathan. First of all, he placed it such that some of the farm spots are blocked by the town center. But at the same time, it also means that it's a very nicely close to the town center, which means that it's going to be difficult to aggress the farms under the Kura Storehouse. And at the same time, it's a landmark that gives you a lot of sustainability in mid to late feudal age, because it kind of eases you into that farm transition. You never have this window where you just completely run out of food and have to make a sharp farm transition like most other civilizations have to. So I feel like that level of sustainability is something that plays into the hands of the Japanese player trying to play aggressive in feudal. And that's something that I'm actually waiting to see from Anathan. For now, he does have a couple of villagers on gold, no villagers on stone. He's just heavy on food and wood. First production building is going to be a barracks, so maybe a couple of samurai is what he's going to open with.
And we did see a stable for Beasty, so Horseman, Spearman, and Archer, as we call a 1-1-1 composition. Well, he doesn't have a barracks and archery range, but he's going to have those units out in the field here at the very beginning. Beasty wrapping around to do a raid, but there's going to be a tower there, so he's probably not going to get a whole lot there. But yeah, with this landmark, it's very easy to grab idle time from this farm. It's so annoying when you're a Japanese player dealing with something like this, like just 1 or 2 archers that you just can't do anything about. And Lidakor mentioned that he might make some samurai. Is that, I can't tell what he's got queued up from that icon. It's so small there, but I think that's yeah, the Onabugeisha. That's kind of what I figured it was coming out. So I like to call these the screaming demons. They run around super speedy, and there they are, fierce warriors. Make a few of those, and they can really do a lot of DPS. Okay, we see Anathan getting up his equivalent of the wheelbarrow upgrade for the Japanese. Of course, they've got a tiered upgrades in that sense, so he's going to be grabbing his tier 2 gathering upgrade. Oh, a ram! Look at this! Beasty sneaking a ram there next to the tree. So he says, "You think you're getting fast castle? I'm coming in to party." Let's see what happens here. Beasty continuing to train Horseman. Is he having any other military buildings at home? I was wondering what other he's reinforcing with. I mean, he just spent a lot of wood getting that ram. Okay, he does have an archer range, so a little bit of a risky move making a ram so early, especially with Anathan. Yeah, with Anathan. If Anathan was doing a naked fast castle, this could be really effective. But if he has a few units out, this could be hard. But his units are not. They're in Beasty's base right now, so he stands a chance. Taking out
Onabugeisha could decimate the vills very quickly, though. Even just 2 of these units will be so annoying for Beasty to deal with, unless these run into the town center fire. But yeah, this is a bit of a gamble that Beasty's taking over here. Love how he's focusing on the farms, kind of taking out the Kura storehouse initially. But that ram is expensive. It needs to find value for itself. Nice micro to pull back that 1 injured horseman. Not a lot of troops back at home for Anathan, though, to deal with this ram so far.
Now, typically you wouldn't go for killing farms so early, but how that storehouse works is it generates farms, and once it's maxed on farms, it starts generating passive wood. So his thought might be knock 2 of those farms out real quick so that it doesn't max out, especially with the way he's built it. Pushed up against town center would have been generating wood. But he holds Anathan, impressive hold there, and this is kind of what we thought. If Anathan had gone for a naked fast castle, perhaps Beasty would have got away with this, but Anathan's been making units and is ready to go. So this gamble didn't quite work out for Beasty right now.
I actually wonder if Beasty knew about the barracks. Maybe he indeed thought about a naked fast castle, in which case this would have been a great move. If it's only villagers, it's difficult for Anathan to destroy the ram. But even just a handful of Onabugeisha were like extremely devastating over here. Beasty still did some damage because he slowed down Anathan's gold income, so Anathan is right now struggling to afford Castle Age. And Beasty is gonna complete that town center just in time. Onabugeisha, though, increasing in numbers, and they could start looking for some villagers to pick off. They don't want to stay under the town center, though.
Yeah, looks like he might get 1 vill here. 1 goes down, gonna try to get a second one. He's basically just kind of pushing those in there, and the archer's gonna defend. But Beasty does have a second TC. Now look at the villager count. 31 vills for Anathan, 28 for Beasty. He's down a little bit, so he's got to make up for some lost time. But look at Anathan slamming those villagers on gold. Those miners are ready to move up to the Castle Age very soon. So Beasty's starting to wall. I mean, not only these raiders, but he has to know that the Japanese Castle Age is going to be coming in soon. And if you're in that case and you're still in the second age, like looks like Beasty will be, you gotta have a few walls to try to funnel those samurai so that you can perhaps get your spearmen into his place to stop them. So I think that's his goal there. There you see it, Anathan aging up right now with that floating gate, and we'll probably start spamming units. As soon as he gets up to that next stage, we'll see those samurais coming out.
The major concern for Beasty is not the fact that he's still in Feudal Age. Abbasids are competitive in Feudal, and we've seen it numerous times how you can hold off initial Castle Age knights with camel archers and spearmen. The concern for him is that the villager count is dead even. He's just now starting to get value for the second TC. He doesn't have a terrifying army by any means. And it's not like he was able to do a lot of damage. And I think all of this goes back to the fact that he went for a very early ram, which is a monstrous investment. He gets that battering ram. It does next to nothing, unfortunately for him. So that delays his second town center. And while he's piling up resources now, remember, he isn't going to be able to accelerate his castle age progress that much, meaning that he's just going to have to wait. And that's going to be a very, very painful wait when you already have a stable down and mounted samurai will be ready to go very soon.
Yeah, and you talk about that waiting. You can't just slam 30 villagers on a landmark like every other civilization does. So that is going to make it a little difficult for him to get up to the next stage. But we'll see. He's got to know this is coming. He planned to go for this second TC. Got some villagers out there. Ooh, picking off the priest really early on. That's very valuable right there.
That's a huge misstep by Anathan. He just went out blindly without any escort or without any kind of scouting in front of that one Shinto priest. And now he's chasing a single horseman, the mounted samurai. I kind of touched on this in a previous game. Anathan needs to seize the moment. There are windows that he needs to exploit. This is one of them. He's got mounted samurai, something that Beasty has absolutely no tools of dealing with. Even camel archers in low quantities will struggle against them. And what Anathan needs to do is capitalize on this. He needs to start beating up Beasty's army. He needs to start chipping away at the villager count because he cannot afford to just let this window pass like the windows passed in the previous game for him.
Yeah. And we'll see what he does right now as he's got those mounted samurai running around. He needs to go do some real economic damage here as BC's still another minute away from aging up. And that feels like an eternity at this point in time. BC now up on villagers. I see a few mounted samurai standing still. He needs to get them moving as he's trying to raid out their map. And there's some of those camels to try to stop it. He's trying to build a tower as well on his gold because if BC gets pushed off of gold, it's going to be hard for him to really capitalize when he reaches the castle age. Right now working on sieging that main town center. I'm not sure if that's going to do enough damage right now, if he's better off running around towards wood lines and gold lines. Idle time is what he wants right now, even if he can't kill the vills.
Certainly. And he wants to shut down the gold. If he does that, his opponent isn't going to get any of the premium castle age units. He's going to struggle affording any of the key castle age techs. And now, that's exactly what he needs. He needs to start sending forward these mounted samurai and start harassing the tower on the gold mine. This is exactly what he needs. He doesn't need to be worried about a single horseman. He can actually take it out with the villager. I think he clicked away, and I think he lost the villager as a consequence. Oops.
Okay, he reaches the next age, and
looks like that fight.
Some spearmen in there. This is going to be a little bit dangerous, but he's just deciding, he's committing to taking this, but he's got reinforcing spearmen coming out, and that's what he can't take. I think he was thinking about camping, the town center and the military units, but now those mounted samurai, I'm not sure if they really got as many Vill kills as he maybe could have. They didn't get really close to that wood line. A lot of idle time, is what he's been able to draw, and now he's got these running around everywhere, but Beasty is pumping spears now, and so now he's going to need to change the strategy up. And as Vodka is pointing out wonderfully, no gold for Beasty at the moment.
Yeah, and his food income isn't going to be great when these mounted samurai hit the villagers. I'm puzzled as to why Anathan decided to take a fight against Abbasid spearmen under the town center. He simply didn't need to. For him, this game is currently not about killing those spears. This game is currently about raiding Beasty to oblivion, allowing him to slowly take the relics, build up his numbers of Abu Geisha, and then just double down on this aggression. He actually lost a lot of valuable mounted samurai there, and now his army is kind of battered. He is getting a katana bannerman out there, and you see, the mobility of these mounted samurai is something that Beasty is somewhat struggling with all these spears out there. Villager count is still neck and neck, but that's something that the Japanese player is going to be more than happy about.
Yeah, I think the most impactful thing was just keeping him low on gold as he hit the castle age. That was very nice. So you see Anathan, none of his eco has been hindered at this point. He actually hasn't grabbed any relics. I don't know if he's just been so busy. The samurai. Okay, I just heard a relic sound.
He's got 2 Shinto priests.
Oh, he's got the priest. Yeah, that was the priest sound. I was like, that sounded like a relic, but it wasn't. But yeah, he hasn't grabbed any of the relics yet. Now switching to a barracks, and you see some Yushiro in there. So this is going to be more spams of those Abu Geisha running around the field.
I'm not sure about this Shinto priest here. Normally, I like when players move out to take the relic closest to the opponent. But here in this case, I feel like Anathan would have benefited so much more from just taking the relics close to him as soon as possible. But this army is scary though, and I love this move from Anathan. He saw Beasty's army moving to the left, so he knows that he can aggress that expansion DC. He cannot charge the wood line because of all the spearmen being around.
Oh, look at the villagers. He got them all.
Expansion DC is more than exposed.
They went out to the north. I don't know if that was a misclick or what, but yeah, all those villagers.
That cannot be deliberate. That must have been a misclick.
Yeah, so Townsend are going down. He's lost 21 total villagers. He's down 5 vills. You've got Anathan, seemingly with map control. This is looking really good. There's Bannerman in there now. Anathan looking like he's in a power position, and Beasty Cutie taps out. We had like a 50-minute game before. This one was what, Lidakor? I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. But Anathan going to be taking decisive victory here with the Samurai. It seems like the Ram gamble didn't quite pay off there in the early game for Beasty going after that fast castle, and a nice win for Anathan. And that will take us to game number 3.
Textbook game from Anathan with minor slip-ups across the board, but this is what we kind of talked about before this game. He definitely had his moments in the first game against Beasty, but he fell behind so much that late game he just stood no chance. But here the players were on an equal footing, and Beasty went with a Ram opening, something that didn't really pay off. It kind of delayed that second TC expansion. And despite the fact that we had that kind of horrendous fight of Anathan's mounted samurai under the enemy TC, the second wave was able to grind down Beasty, and we're looking at an even-Steven setup over here. Anathan, he is still having his hopes of taking down Beasty and massively strengthening his position in the playoffs race.
Yep, so this is going to be an interesting game number 3. It's going to be really decisive as the score is currently 1-1. What hills will they pull out? It's going to be Beasty playing the Mongols on their home map, Mongolian Heights. Of course, this is Beasty's home map here for this series, and Anathan going to be playing the Ayabids. As we've mentioned before, you can open nicely with the water, but also they're very good at denying water. Both these civs very aggressive, and it's going to be interesting to see, I'm assuming, the fight over the river here on Mongolian Heights, looking at the Mongols, opening up with, it could be a tower rush, who knows what it's going to be, going for the water, and then the Ayabids could go for a quicker age up, could go for fast castle, a lot of options on the table.
Yeah, this means that Anathan opts to play or not to play Malians, same thing for Beasty's English, but we have to touch on something that we haven't done so far. Anathan opted to pick Beasty's own home map as game number 2, which is something that we commonly see from players losing game number 1 in best of 3s, which means that he's actually able to play the decider game on his own home map. And there is always a gamble picking your opponent's favorite map, your opponent's home map, as a map that's to be played when your opponent has match point. But in this setup, I actually love it from Anathan because he needs a set win. Anathan, I don't think he cares much about losing 2-0 versus losing 2-1. But for him to set himself up for a chance to win this series, should he actually win game number 2, it's actually something that's worth making the opponent's home map as game number 2 and then using your own as the lost. We still have 2.5 minutes left to go, though, so I think this is a good time to take a look at the standings of the day. We had quite a few sets going on. Let's take a look at how Group B has gone so far. We had a lot of games, and of course, we weren't able to show you all of those. So let's take a look at those scores real quick. All right there, folks. So, Group B, here we are, Wham, taking down B 2-1. We've actually seen that ourselves. Beasty currently 1-1. That score has not been updated, but it is 1 apiece for Beasty and Anathan. Lucifron taking out Baltoon, Zerton taking out Elyona, Killjardy yet to play with Evely. Anathan still has Killjardy left to go. Lucifron taking out Zerton as well. B has yet to play with Elyona. And Beasty has already played his second set. He has taken out Baltoon. Wham is yet to play with Evely. In the meantime, let's take a look at the current standings of Group B as well, because I think that also carries a lot of intrigue. Here we are with Lucifron leading the group right now 6-1 with a Beasty, with a win. Beasty would actually move up ahead of Lucifron. Wham currently in the third place spot, obviously cheering for Anathan, hoping that Anathan takes out Beasty, which would move Wham to the second place. And folks, we have a staggered placement in the playoffs for the players finishing in the group stage. The winner of each group is going to play in the semifinals for the first time in the playoffs. Second place will play in the round of sixth, and then third and fourth will have no bye rounds in the playoffs. So there's a lot of value in securing those first two spots, and there is a massive amount of competition for both of those spots here in Group B.
I think we need to have like a trivia that like we've picked 2 random players to play in to run back all those stats you just run of who wins what, who will go where for this. But thank you so much for all of those wonderful stats. We need to get those stats like powered by AWS or something. Maybe we need to get a big Amazon sponsor. You know, here on Twitch, it would make sense. It would all work. You know, that's what I always do in the NFL. Machine learning stats. But
we need to hire a stats producer, so I don't have to do this myself.
Yeah. Okay, well, as we get ready for game number 3, it's going to be the Mongols versus Ayubids. It's going to be a decisive game for this series, at least. So buckle up. I hope you got your popcorn ready as we dive into it on Mongolian Heights.
I certainly do. Anotand looking to take out Beasty over here, solidify his position in the playoffs. Beasty, with the Mongols playing as the color yellow, dropping that DC between 2 wood lines. And on the other side, it's going to be the Ayubids for Anotand.
Match point on the line. We've got the river with plenty of shore fish up for grabs. We'll see if anybody goes for a water opening. As you can see, the first decision you got to make as the Mongols is, well, where am I going to put my town center? Where is my Uvu going to end up? The Uvu is not within the town center range, so if that the push comes to shove, it could be in some trouble. But that's a wonderful spot for a town center between 2 wood lines, as far as he's got wood forever into the later stage of the game. Looks like his 3rd wood line even is to the right as well. So he's in a pretty comfy spot there. But looking at the trade on this map, they've moved it kind of a little bit more central. It used to be kind of in the corners and stuff, and they've moved it kind of towards the center-ish spots. But yeah, it also used to be in the early days, there was like 1 million sheep on this map you'd seem to always get. But there's Anatand's dock, and that's going to start off with some fishing.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing here with Beasty's map is that he has basically all of his wood on one side of the, I guess, half of the map that he has.
Gold.
At the same time, he also chose an interesting spot for his DC. It's kind of far away from all gold and stone. Technically, you could actually place that DC close to the wood and the stone, so you at least have that oval right next to it. But yeah, generally speaking, he didn't have any perfectly optimal spots for that town center, so he just went with what he deemed to be best. But on the other side, I'm a little worried about that map layout for Anathan, because it needs to be careful with the scouts. He's the TC. When you look at Anathan's map layout, I don't see a lot of safe gold to work with. Frankly, the safest gold pile for him might be the far right one, which is kind of tucked away behind all these cliffs.
Yep, and well, you never know the spawn you're going to get when you start with the Mongols, and you try to get it by wood and gold in a perfect scenario, but sometimes it's just how it works out. So we see Anathan out here on the water. Beasty not going for a dock opening or towers, at least as we're seeing right now. Is he building a barracks or a stable back at home? I'm kind of curious. I do see something down there. Is that a... Yeah, okay, so he has a barracks to times 2 spearmen, so going to be a little bit of a... There they are, a little bit of tower rush maybe, but most importantly probably here, just a raiding here at the beginning of the game. Anathan continuing to chop wood, and he's aging up. Culture Wing, so he is getting the cheaper up here so he can get up to the feudal age as fast as possible. So that's an interesting choice, and we mentioned what makes Ayubids really good on hybrid maps.
This is something that's extremely important for the Ayubids. they would be so much weaker on hybrid maps if they didn't have this option of aging up with a discount and with a quicker speed. And it's actually even more so important, I guess, against the Mongols, because as much as going for the dock and fishing delays your feudal age, so does playing Dark Age barracks. So in this setup, we actually will have Anathan beating Beasty to feudal. Means that he's actually able to get some archers out without much of a resistance. He is going to have to mix in some spears as well, though, because Beasty might double down on Dark Age aggression and play Horseman here. I feel like Beasty could do a lot with Dark Age here. And once Anathan gets the feudal age and he cleans up the spearman, I think Beasty's position would be bad.
Okay, so one villager being chased down by a spearman right now. Anathan, you can't see it on the UI, but there we go. We are in the second age right now. What is he going to do with it? Training a Dow. That's his mode to try to protect this. And I'm not sure if it's going to get out fast enough. It looks like that dock might be ignited, and he's also got a tower nearby, which will deal with that boat as well. So let's see what happens here. There we go. It is burning. He gets that raid bounty, and that's going to die. He's not going to be able to keep that up unless he pulls a bunch of villas or something. Here comes that Dow. Oh, man. He's almost able to stop that villager, but wasn't. Now he needs to put those inside. Yeah, he knows. He's trying to block them from getting inside of the tower because that's what's going to make the dock.
Nice body block with the fishing boats.
Yeah,
I just want to add that we've seen earlier today how Shinobi can shut down hybrid map builds. This is the difference between a Shinobi build with the Japanese and the Mongol Dark Age Spearman build. The Shinobi can stall out the production on those docks so the opponent cannot get a combat ship out. That wasn't the case for the Spearman here. So, sure enough, Anathan did lose the dock, but he still has the fishing boats alive and he has a second dock. So, I guess this was part of the plan from the very beginning. What makes this game more intriguing, though, is that Beasty wants to go for a silver tree and trade.
Yeah, the silver tree trade going to be interesting. That second dock allows him just to keep on gathering. So, Beasty put a lot into trying to stop that, and ultimately he's still gathering. But now Beasty can get on the water, so it's all part of the plan. But you see Beasty's on the other side, pushing his opponent off of gold. And that's pretty impactful right now. As Anathan probably needs to get some archers out to deal with it.
In older generations of this map, you had a lot less crossings. So it was actually very difficult to get to the enemy's side and actually hit their eco. It's a little easier now, as I'm saying that Beasty is harassing this gold mine with the spears. It's actually going to make it a little bit more difficult for Beasty to protect his trade, particularly because that neutral market is actually very close to a crossing that's controlled by Anathan because he has a dock there already.
Beasty's reached the feudal age, and we can start doing some trading, and you see his landmark instantly moving to the southern corner of the map to set up some trade. And Anathan's doing a little bit of walling, trying to stop those ships from coming down the river, which is a nice way to do it here on this map.
Beasty's towering that dock to the north, though. Or, that was a dock. It's gonna get cancelled. There is an explosive ship in there for Anotand. I don't know about you, but I feel like Beasty is in big trouble here. He wasn't able to shut down the fishing eco of the opponent. He is just now making his second production building, and he's going to start facing Desert Raiders, which completely shut down everything he has. In Archer mode, they pick off the spears. In Melee mode, they actually pick off the Horsemen. And I think Anathan is going to have an opportunity to completely shut this trade down. Oh no! What a disaster for Beasty.
Gold.
He's getting pushed away from gold as well. He's got nothing that cleans this up. The stable is just now finishing. Anathan is kind of all over the place here. He still has his gold mine harassed by spearmen. But he's going to get the intel about the stable. And he's just causing so much idle time here in a game where he is up by 6 eco already.
Yep, so, and without gold, not able to trade, train those traders, but I don't think he's really in a spot to do a whole lot of trading at the moment. Put some units out there for Anathan. But Anatan's eco looking good. He's been able to secure his fishing economy for now. BC going to go for the gold on the south side of his base now. Just now moving out to that. We have some horsemen running around. Those archers, there's one camo that can protect him. But,
That's the big thing. That Desert Raider is life and death. Now, I think Anathan, we've talked about this in game number 1, to a certain extent in game number 2 as well. He cannot fall for this. He cannot start chasing units that Beasty is going to send across the map. Beasty is doing everything in his power to distract Anathan. And what Beasty wants to do here is pull that camel away so the next batch of horsemen can clean up the archers. Anathan is wise not to pull away the camel, so the archers will remain protected. As long as there is no trade for Beasty, I think Anathan is going to be happy with this. It's a single TC setup, limited fishing for Beasty, and archers might actually find some villagers here too.
Okay. Marine Lord said he bet all
slow
of
to
his
react as
UTC
Beasty.
points on this. Let's see, can Beasty pull this off as the archers getting a nice big raid on both sides, but Horsemen should be able to clean those up.
Where's the Desert Raider at? Anathan, you had one job. You had just to protect that group of archers. I feel like we see this over and over again in Anathan games from game number 1 to 3 now. He has good moments, but every once in a while he has a rare misstep, and those missteps are costing him. He just lost all the archers because the Desert Raider was busy chasing down that one trader.
Horsemen chasing around mid. Down there's the Desert Raiders. It doesn't feel good to be losing them to Horsemen, but yeah, as you mentioned, very surprised he just let those archers die. It seemed like he was starting to get in a pretty good spot, but it has its consequences. Now BC on the other side trying to raid a few of Anathan's villagers. Don't seems like they're going down. I'm not sure if they have textiles yet, but yeah, this is a good hold for Anathan here for right now.
He needed this tower. I think Anathan has been distracted by Beasty way too long here. The fact that he only has one Desert Raider is concerning. He's got no gold to work with. I still think that Anathan is in a much better position than Beasty. And we actually have a couple of demos on the river for Anathan. He actually hit them amongst his fishing boats. So this is still very much a reasonable setup for Anathan, the Beasty. Is he looking? Is he looking? Well, Anathan is the one who isn't looking, apparently. Not committing the demo against the Horseman. Beasty now alert. Oh, what a bait!
Oh, man. Man, that was masterful. Okay, we got Anathan. Tried to demo ship, but that's not the nuclear demo ship of old.
And he doesn't have Desert Raiders, he doesn't have Spearmen. He's just being eaten alive by the Horsemen. And I'm getting a deja vu to the first game here. First game, he had an insane momentum, but it was just completely shattered by the fact that Beasty sent in the cavalry and kept distracting him. The dock goes up, villager falls, but Beasty is gaining a lot of momentum, and the efficiency of his trades is actually really good here. So many archers fall. Beasty actually takes the lead in the army count.
Okay, so that dock's about to... What is he training? Is that a demo? Or is it
He probably should.
arrow slit.
He's actually getting
boy.
arrow slits.
Oh boy.
Anathan needs to commit that demo before it gets destroyed.
Yep. Here it comes.
Desert Raiders now increasing in numbers, and Anathan is adding some spears, but I feel like he lost momentum. He is now facing a fairly active trade over here. Nice find on the demo, though. Catches it before it would destroy any of the fishing boats.
Yeah,
Beasty actually has a lot of demos, though, ready to get through the walls.
Oh boy. Here they come. Any second. Wall goes down. Here comes the demos.
That's the wrong song, though.
What's the right one?
I don't know.
I have a I made a YouTube short that was back when there was nuclear demos, and it was like demo losing like 50 to 100 knights to, like repeatedly to demos on like FFA, and it's like popped off. It's really funny.
Love how Anathan is trying to tower the trade here, but again, Beasty is just doing this again and again to him, sending in the cavalry, distracting him, and this is why Anathan isn't able to build on that lead that he had for quite some time, and it is no longer a lead at this point. He's starting to lose the revert to this war junk, he has no means of denying Beasty's trade, and he's still struggling to chase down those horsemen. I feel like just a couple of walls would be so helpful for him at this point. He needs to prevent Beasty from running into his base, because if this continues, Beasty's gonna eat him alive, I feel.
Anathan had such a strong opening this game. It felt like, and then BC has just had several, chain of events to just really carve off. It's a good economy, good engagements here on the water, and now it's starting to look pretty good here with those traders. Now, if we look at the villager kills, it's been 8 for Anathan, 4 for Beasty. So
Anathan is going castle though. I feel like with the pressure gone from his base, the horseman retreating, suddenly he's getting a little breathing room, and you can clearly see this. When he's allowed to play his game, he is doing it really well. But he needs more camels. I feel like he is struggling to keep track of those cavalry units, and to me, it's an atrocious... It's a crime against AoE 4 meta to have 2 desert raiders and a spearman, when all that Beasty was doing for the last 5 minutes was spamming cavalry.
You wanted more camels. Well, he's going to be up to the castle age very, very soon. Let's see the progress. Oh, he just started, so a little bit of time left on that one.
What is he doing with the archers? That's what I'm not getting here.
Eco. Okay, so he's going to have some villagers coming out. That's going to be 8 villagers when he reaches the next stage. Pretty crazy. And those fishing boats are basically probably donezo here very shortly.
Is Anotand expecting spearmen from Beasty, or what's the point of making all these archers? At least that Dow pays for itself, but I feel like Anathan is giving this game to Beasty on a silver plate. He had such an awesome start, he couldn't ask for more. He had an army advantage, a composition advantage as well. He was able to shut down Beasty's trade, and now he is down by 17 eco. All the fishing gone, he's got no second layer to this. And he was making a unit that does absolutely nothing against Beasty's army.
Yep, BC looking to be in a nice spot with his military. Those archers, he's lucky that he didn't turn around and fight. I guess he's got a few spearmen, so he'd be okay. Here's the Krotai, so BC could be heading up to the next stage as well. And here comes the first ram. Now, this can actually take out some docks, but he's got so many of them. So the moral of the story on this map, just keep making docks.
And with all that fish being lost from Anathan, suddenly he is very desperate for food, has to head out with so many bills on the hunt. And we touched on this before. You have so many crossings on this river. It's a lot more difficult to keep track of these horsemen now for Anathan, especially when this army that he has is extremely slow. He's got not a single fast-moving unit right now. Battering Ram completely unprotected will get taken out with basically no challenges for Beasty. He's down by, or he's up by 18 eco, and Fitz, I have such a big deja vu to game number 1. You look back at that game, what an awesome start Anathan had with the horsemen opening against the Delhi from the Chinese. And it all fell apart because of the pressure that was put on him. And I see the same thing over here. When he faces pressure, when Beasty sent on those cavalry troops to distract him, he was just not playing his own game. And now it's starting to hurt him big time.
Well, this map is just really challenging. There's so much micro to go on between all of the land fights, the trade, like just trying to deal with trade on just a pure land map is annoying enough. He's dealing with raids coming in on his gold. He's got the river to worry about. A lot to do.
I don't get the no walls, by the way, especially because now walls snap to resources. So you can get some little walls between cliffs and gold mines, and it might actually decrease your efficiency a little. But I feel like the lack of walls is haunting Anathan so much over here. And of course, he's now making crossbows big time. Now, you have 2 Keshik for Beasty, but Anathan is making every single unit that the horsemen from Beasty counted. I don't get it. I'm so puzzled about this game here, Fitz.
Well, and right now, we're looking at a kind of a grim situation. We've got villagers being raided here, so he's down on vills. We've got trade booming up. We've got the river booming up. Everything going against Anathan. He would need something really miraculous, really, at this point to get back economically. He's in a really tough spot. And I'm trying to see where he's trying to get some momentum going. I see a stable in the middle of the map. he built some of those ramps. You see archers kind of squaring off against some of the dowels, and you take a lot of damage from those, of course. Ooh, the fishing boats healing right at the last second. It was looking like he was going to take him out, but losing basically his only remaining army here to some of those. But he is able to kill some of the fishing boats, but doesn't feel great.
The lack of effectiveness on Anathan's side is just unreal. Camel Lancers might be the only unit that can salvage that, and he's now starting to add those. But I just feel like he isn't going to have enough of them to make a difference. I think this is one of those games, again, very similar to game number 1. If Anathan is allowed to play on an equal footing with Beasty, I think he is a match. He can take out Beasty on an equal footing. There is no longer an equal footing in this game, folks. He's down by 30 eco. He is down by 45 or so population, and he's playing catch-up. In a game where Beasty has one of the most robust trades and one of the most robust economies that you can hope for on this map.
Yeah. I just think back to that early stage in the second age when he had the archers, Anathan had the archers kind of on the gold line, and he lost like 4 or 5 or 6 archers to basically undefended against some of the horsemen. It's protecting those and denying that gold, what that could have done, because if he had been able to push Beasty off of gold, Beasty wouldn't have been able to make demo ships and dowels and the stuff like that, right? You need gold to do that. Wouldn't have been able to make traders. That could have been really impactful. But unfortunately, as you see, Anathan kind of at this point just being bled all of his villagers, spreading out casualties all over the place. Trying to do something, but it's hard to even cross the river at this point with just what's going on with the Mongols.
Yeah, I think you pointed out the most important thing indeed. It didn't seem like it's much to lose that Desert Raider, those couple of archers, and Beasty had a backup gold mine, but those units were there to shut down the early trade, and the name of the game was delay. It was Anathan putting pressure on Beasty. Once those got cleaned up, it was always Beasty putting pressure on Anathan. And it started to show. The cracks in Anathan's gameplay started to show once Beasty was able to apply pressure on the gold mine. And now Beasty's up to 20 Keshik. He is facing 9 spears, 8 crossbows, and 2 Camel Lancers. Camel Lancers soon to be history. When those horsemen hit Anathan's eco, it could be GG. It really comes down to whether he has any of his slow-moving troops back at home at the time.
I think he could pull some villagers out here, and he could wall the trade with stone walls, and then he could go to his own stone. That's how you get back in this thing. He needs to shut down the trade. Joking aside, that is probably one of the most effective ways in most matchups. If you're against Mongols, probably going to see this trade strategy. And one of the best things you can do is just wall that puppy in or put a tower on it, something, because it just seems like the traders are going to get there no matter what.
Anathan is trying to collect relics. Beasty is on top of that too, and Beasty now has a massive force ready to hit these exposed food villagers. Remember, Anathan is desperate for food. He needs these berries, he needs the deer carcasses, because he was pushed off from all the fish.
Smolo coming in, trying to get this Keshik run away, and he's going to be able to maybe secure that relic. We'll see.
Surprised that Beasty let him live. I think he could have killed that dervish.
Yeah, oh boy.
Doesn't really matter.
Here they come. He is ready to end this game. Look at that Mongol army. It is just gigantic. 81 troops versus the 28 of Anathan. Anathan not able to get the momentum he had. First, all the other games being so close and so competitive. This last game just really quickly went in the favor of BC. And BC Cutie going to be taking this series 2-1 versus Anathan. Anathan putting up an excellent fight, and big thank you to these players for competing here today. And BC will be able to keep that score heading into his next series.
And with that, Beasty is going to take the first place in his group. Anotand, he's actually actually going to fall out of the playoff spots for the time being. He still is very much in competition, but it's going to be a fierce competition with players like B, Baltoon. He has already taken out Wham, though. In fact, let's take a look at what he has left for tomorrow. He's playing Alyona tomorrow, but most importantly, Anathan is going to face B tomorrow. That could be a straight qualification game for the playoffs. I think we've seen a lot of impressive things for Anathan over here. But I think the whole storyline for this series is that Anathan needs to seize the moment. There are windows where he's clearly ahead, and oftentimes those leads slip out of his hands, and players like Beasty can exploit that. Having said that, Anathan takes away a game from Beasty, which is in itself a valuable possession when it comes to the tiebreakers. And it's going to be interesting to see if Anathan makes it in the top 8 of this tournament.